Welcome to my daily review. Today is Tuesday, April 15th, tax day. Gotta pay Uncle Sam. Unless you can figure a way to wiggle out of it. If you can, good luck to you. Anyway, you're taking a look at a daily chart of the Nasdaq, which, traded sideways today, kind of flat on the session, down, 0.05%, 8 points, closed at 16,823. And what I'm most interested in here in the Nasdaq is first of all the lows, right? It's making, higher lows, so that's good. The low is above the 10 now, but we need to get it through the 21. And more importantly, we need to get above this day here. Last Wednesday, April 9th, that was the day that there was news about the tariffs, and it traded up to the 21 and then got rejected there and has not been able to penetrate that moving average since. Yesterday it traded up to it and then got rejected. Today was just an inside day, which is okay. That's fine. We need some calmness amongst this volatility. But since the low here on the 7th, which was that Monday, then last Wednesday, the 9th, we had that 12% day, inside day, and now we're making, higher lows every day. If I zoom in here on the Nasdaq, every day a higher low. If you look there at the if I bring it down a little bit, you could see the low. The low on that day, the 7th was 14,784, 15,053, and then on the 9th it was 15,270. The next day was important there, that inside day where the low was 15,894. On Friday, 16,228. And then yesterday, which was a nice day for the Nasdaq, it was really looking like it was going to move higher. If I could log on there. 16,661 was the low. And then today, like I said, an inside day, a quiet day, 16,753. So if the low keeps going higher, eventually I think it can take out that 17,202. That's the benchmark for me right now. Today was day 7 of an attempted rally. We need a follow through day. I think we're going to get one this week. Now, remember, there's only 4 trading sessions this week. Good Friday, the market's closed. And so those monthly expirations, options expirations are going to close on Thursday, not Friday this week. So it could add some volatility. I'm going to be positive and think we get a follow through day tomorrow, day 8, or Thursday, day 9 of this attempted rally. That would be a move of 1% higher with volume higher than the prior session. And today we have really low volume. So let's make it tomorrow. How about that? Maybe they've already started taking their spring breaks. I don't know. But anyway, there's the Nasdaq for you. Still, 8.5% below the 200, 7.4%, below this downtrending 50. And heck, even a 7.5% move to the 50, where if it got rejected there, that would still be a great tradable rally. We just need, some momentum going north here. We really, I mean, if you looked at your 401k statement, probably got sticker shock. We've really had a really tough time here in 2025. And you know what? I've got to go back because this is expected. I expected this. We had a big year, 25% year in 23, and then another 25% year in 24. So this is not going to continue. You're not going to have 25% years every year on the Nasdaq. So a little bit of profit taking was expected coming into the year. Obviously, a new administration with new policies, and the market's adjusting to that now. But I think it's going to stabilize and regain its footing, and it's not going to be this damn volatile the whole time. I mean, the VIX was at 40 on Monday. I think it calmed down to 35, and today I think it was at 30. So it's starting to calm down a little bit, and we need a little more calm in the market just to, and I'm going to get to that because I heard something after the bell today that was encouraging. But anyway, I'm going to get to that in a minute. I just want to go to I know there was some, bankers on Wall Street, Wells Fargo, and I forget which ones, Goldman Sachs, some really bullish prognostications for this year. I'm talking about, 6,600, 6,800, even 7,000 on the S&P. And right now, today, it closed at 5,396. So we got a hell of a run to go. if we're going to get to 7,000 in 2025. Anyway, it was just another, inside day today for the S&P. I'll get you the stats here. It's 6.2% below the 200, 5.9% below the 50. Once again, yeah, we had the death cross where the 50 crosses below the 200. So the index is closer to the 50 than it is to the 200, which is kind of rare. But we'll see what happens. Just take it one day at a time. The the S&P was down 9 points or 0.17%. You can see the volume, really light volume today. All right, and I guess I got to go to the IWM because that was the star of the show. It was actually up a little bit today. And once again, making these higher lows, we can't get above that Wednesday. All the indexes are having trouble trying to get above that 192 here on the IWM. Today it got to 189, so that's 3 points. You can do it. All right, I'm interested in earnings. I'm not really interested in hearing from the Fed or politicians, but I do like to hear from companies that are reporting earnings. We've heard from the bank stocks. I think the bank stocks are about through reporting, maybe a couple smaller ones the rest of this week. But they've reported really strong earnings. This is Bank of America had a nice response. Obviously, this thing sold off like everything else, the last couple of months. But it was up nearly 4% following its earnings report today. And, that's kind of what you want to see. Companies reporting good earnings and being rewarded for that. That's a normal behavior. Citigroup, not that great of earnings, but still, I guess you could say it was better than feared. How about that? Up nearly 2% for Citigroup. And then Johnson and Johnson reported. I thought it was a pretty decent report for them. You're not going to get a lot of growth from a stock like this, a company like this. But anyway, 2% growth. It rallied up to its 200, got rejected. Not bad for Johnson and Johnson. And okay, I'm going to move on. I've got to go to the Mag 7 stocks. A lot of news around Apple. They're reorganizing their European their bench, uh, just rearranging the personnel. And they are shipping more from, I guess, before the tariffs went into effect or were announced. They're shipping from India, so they're not going to be charged. So it's just a big game they're playing. Obviously, this administration's like, pay for play, and nobody's got more money than Apple to pay to kind of, skirt themselves around their tariffs. And same with NVIDIA. They announced, I don't know, 500 billion, some outrageous amount of money for manufacturing in Arizona and chip making. I think the chips were being made in Arizona and the factories are in Texas, something like that. Anyway, that's an insane amount of money. I mean, you're looking at 2,700 billion, excuse me, 2.7 trillion market cap, and they're gonna put 500 billion towards manufacturing. Yeah, okay. Some of these headlines you just got to take with a grain of salt. But anyway, they do have the funds to kind of, pay to play. Another, the stock is not doing that great. Obviously, another one of these death crosses, and no matter what the news, it's really, not good enough. NVIDIA couldn't get above that April 9th, last Wednesday's high of 115.10. A lot of stocks can't, just like the index. Had an inside day today, and it was up on that news, 1.3%. So what I'm looking for, strong stocks, that's my benchmark. You got to get above last Wednesday's high. Those stocks that are doing it are showing strength. The stocks that aren't are kind of lagging. So I'm just going to stick with that benchmark. Meta is going to be in timeout for a little bit with their troubles with the FTC. I'm really surprised at that. I don't think there's an antitrust issue there. I mean, there's so many social media pages you can go to. I mean, they have Instagram and WhatsApp and Facebook, but there's Twitter or X or whatever is a big one, and Reddit is big, and Snap. There's lots of places you can go for social media. I mean, I don't know. I don't see it. I'm really surprised they're pursuing that. But like I say, when the politics get involved in your investment, bad things happen. So you got to stay away from that until that's cleared up. And when that's cleared up, I expect Meta to rally. Hopefully that'll be soon for them. Amazon, another one, can't get above that Wednesday high, and that's my benchmark. So if it can't get over 192, then I'm not interested. And anyway, I'm going to move on to what I perceive as strength in the market. And you guys know I like strength. I don't like weakness. And these gold stocks, I'm sorry, these things are just showing strength. I mean, if you don't know a gold stock, I want to know why not. These are the strongest stocks in the market, the number one group. And you ride that trend till it bends at the end, and it's going to bend at some point, and it's going to break. And these gold stocks aren't going to go up forever. But I was looking at the commodities today, and oil is down, natural gas is down, all the commodities are down. Gold's up 0.5%. And so as long as gold's going higher, these gold stocks are going to continue to run. This is Sandstorm. HMY, this is the one I believe it's been up the most. I'm going to show you a little comparison chart here in a minute. AEM Agnico is another one that I like, a Canadian miner making new highs today. Now it's at 120. Gosh, I remember when it was here trying to get above 101, 100 is rejected a bunch of times. Finally got above it, then rejected. Now it's really ramping hard. That's why sell-offs are good because it gets those weak hands out. Like AU had this nice shakeout a couple of weeks ago, pulled back to the 50 and then rallied hard. Yesterday had an inside day. That's like that's like your only chance to get it. Like it comes down like one day. I was waiting for it to come to the five, and it's just not going to do it. Five. Yeah, it's after four and before six. Thank you. Five. So yeah, I was waiting for it to come back to the five, maybe pull back this morning, but nope, not interested in that. You can see it's been riding the five for a while. So that's my benchmark with AU. Pull back to the five and I'll pull the trigger. DRD. Gold is a South African company. Obviously, the five here is a point of interest, pulled back here yesterday. I should have been buying that one instead. Anyway, they're making new highs. This is like shooting fish in a barrel. This is a kind of a rare phenomenon when an entire group does something like this. We saw it with the oil stocks in 2022. Oftentimes, you get those leading growth stocks. When you get in a power trend, you'll see a bunch of stocks in the same group ripping higher. But this gold play is really a phenomenon. Royal Gold making new highs. Orla, back to the Canadian miners making new highs. WPM, Wheaton Precious. Yeah, that's precious, all right. Brilliant, gleaming, precious. You gotta love it. AGI, yeah, making new highs. Ego, I saw that one made a new high, then pulled back. So maybe you get a chance here with one of these. And then the one that's kind of the laggard is gold, and it just can't break out. Or that's cup with handle. If I go to the weekly, you can see that cup with handle. It's just hanging on. It's a laggard. The rest of these are, doing great. So I'm going to go to just a comparison chart here from 2025 and see how these are doing. You can see Barrick Gold. I just called it a laggard. It's up 31%. But if I go to some of these, I know Harmony's up, it's already a two bagger. And how does the stock become a five bagger? Well, it starts by being a two bagger. So maybe HMY will be a five bagger this year. Who's to say that it can't? I mean, it's off to a very good start. AU, I mean, just all of these are just, like I say, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. All these are just, making money for your account. And if you look at these, you can see they're all, whichever ones I put in. Yeah, I mean, 30%, 28%, these are laggards. So if you don't have own a gold stock, I want to know why. Because you don't want to chase, and I get it, you don't want to chase in this market. So set that, five EMA and it pulls back, pick one of these and just, ride it for a little trade. You don't have to go, you don't have to plunge in 25%. Just start a 2% position or something because these things are working, and this is what is working in the market. And I don't care about all the factors of who, when, where, or how. I don't care. All I know, these stocks are showing strength. They're going higher. I just gave you a list of 12 stocks here. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to move on because I go through the gold stocks every day and people are probably sick of it. Gold, there's gold and then there are hills. Anyway, okay, I'm going to get to what I was talking about earlier. I think we're going to have a V-shaped recovery. I'm hoping, or I shouldn't say I'm hoping, I'm expecting. How about that? A V-shaped recovery. And if not, then you make plans for, a third wave down, whatever, another leg down. How about that? But the stocks, what I'm looking for, my benchmark here is I look at this Wednesday move. That was a fantastic move last Wednesday. Like I said, it was the second highest percentage move on the Nasdaq in its history. That's from 1971, folks. So that's a few years. So Palantir made that high of 93.33 last Wednesday. It had an inside day, a dual inside day on Thursday and Friday. I put that on my ready list as a pullback to its 21. That's the five there. And now it's probably going to start trading with the five. But on Monday, it traded above that Wednesday high, 97.33. So that was my benchmark for today. And it went above that 98.99, call it $99. 99 bottles of beer on the wall for Palantir. I wouldn't say it was rejected at 99. It just hit 99 and pulled back just a little bit. You go to the 5-minute chart. There it is. It's knocking at the door there. I think it's going to bust through. But that's one of the stocks on my red list. CrowdStrike is another one. Why did I put it on? Well, see, once again here, CrowdStrike 382.65 on that Wednesday, right? Had an inside day on Thursday, which is fine. Everything pulled back a little bit. And then on Friday, 378, but it broke above this downtrend line, which to me is a buy in and of itself here on Monday. So and then it rallied and then pulled back on Monday a little bit. A lot of things did. It opened up higher and then came in. Then today, now made a new high. It hit 400. So good for CrowdStrike. If you own it, I think you got a good buy. And that's still, I like that 389 is the old buy point, right? Look what's happened since it consolidated here. That 389 buy point consolidated in this base, ripped up to 455, got into this double bottom base pattern, undercut the 200, now has rallied back through. That's what the, Livermore would call the shakeout plus three. It's really a shakeout plus 10% is your buy. And I think everything was up 10% last Wednesday, but that was a hell of a shakeout and a move higher. And so to me, I think it's going to blow through 400. It had trouble today, just like Palantir had trouble with 100, well, 99. But you got to give them some time to work through these trades. But these things are what the would be called, like the proverbial basketball underwater type of stocks. Rubric is one that I like a little more than CrowdStrike. I shouldn't. I'd like it for, I think it could appreciate more. Now it's 12 billion. I think it could be a five bagger. Well, I don't think CrowdStrike's going to be a five bagger. These guys are taking market share, and I think you have to own one cybersecurity stock. It's just too essential in this day and age. But this one made a high of 80 and then had a shakeout down to 51, ran back up, then undercut its 200, much like CrowdStrike, and then made that move last Wednesday. What was it? 62.63. I didn't put this on the ready list. I had a brain fart. I don't know what happened to me. I looked at my sheet today and I didn't put it on. I have it written down, but I didn't put it on. So it'll be on tomorrow. I still like this, even though it was up 5% and now it's now it's 5% above its five. So I got to switch that back because in this market, even if a stock is above the 10, it's doing phenomenal. We know there's still a lot of them below their 50s here. So now it's Marty, it's oh gosh, it's 5.7% above its 10. So okay. Uh yeah, I could say that's a little stretch. I'm still going to put it on because I like it above 62, 63. And it's just a whisker above it there right now. So it's just a stock that I like. It's a stock that has got, the growth profile that I think is going to have a good year in 2025. I think they're going to report four solid quarters. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. All right, I'm going to move on to a couple other ones that I like. Robinhood, I think this is a no-brainer here. Another double bottom base pattern where it rallied up to 66 following earnings, traded down to 35, rallied back up, got rejected at its 50, then undercut the 200 here. What day was this? This is the 7th, that Monday. Made a low around 30, 29, okay. $30. And then in a couple sessions, it was up to 42. So that's your shakeout plus three pattern, which we're seeing a lot of. And you're going to see this in a volatile market and double bottom bases here. So to me, this is a buy above the Wednesday. I think I had it on last week at a different buy point. I don't know, but 42.68 above that Wednesday high, and it did that on Friday, showing strength Friday yesterday, made another high. Once again, all these stocks that I'm showing you, Palantir, Rubrik, they're all higher lows and higher highs. Every day it's been a higher low since this day, the 7th, when we had that shakeout. So yeah, when I was brave enough to say that's the bottom. No, I don't know if it is or not. I don't predict. All right, moving on. All right. Oops, I thought I got rid of that. Get out of here. I'm gonna hide you. All right. Robinhood, yes, one that I like. TGTX, another one, a no-brainer. I had a gentleman who's a friend who's a patient, RMS patient who oh, I gotta go to TGTX, who sent me a note here. Gosh, would you stop this? What's going on? Yeah, and he sent me a note. He listened to the key opinion leaders on Monday, and he sent me a note today. I'm going to pass it along to those who are members at um, mcstockcharts.com, but I lost my train of thought here. Anyway, there's a doctor from UCSF, and he's got 7,000 patients, multiple sclerosis in his network, not his own practice, in his network in the San Francisco Bay Area. And he was saying that 25 to 30% of those patients have switched from the Roche drug, Vociferous, to the TG Therapeutics drug, Briumvi. Now, 7,000 patients, not well, I'm not going to say that's a large sample size, and that's real life. And he's a key opinion leader, and he's essentially telling doctors that Briumvi is the better drug. And this is what he's doing with his 7,000 patients in his network. So I'm going to pass it along. It's a really long article that he spoke about TGTX. So they're taking market shares, just the bottom line. You could do with the information what you want. I think that this is a no-brainer. They're taking market share. I can't say that it's undervalued. They only had 108 million in sales, so I think they guided to what 600 million with a 6 billion market. So it's trading at 10 times sales. So that's a pricey stock, but they're going to deliver triple-digit sales and earnings growth, and that's the beauty of this stock. They're going to deliver four strong quarters in 2025 and beyond, and they're going to have free cash flow. Their earnings are going to be what, $2 next year. They're going to have cash to buy back stock. Yeah, so this thing to me is just a hold. So I own this is yeah, a big position for me, and I'm holding it because I believe in this story and I have conviction, and I know some people with the MS, and they tell me, the personal stories. It kind of I'm biased, obviously. So anyway, that's my story. I'll pass that along to you if you're a member at mcstockcharts.com. Anyway, yeah, my point is, gosh, I'm a retard. I shouldn't say that. Sometimes I'm mentally challenged. I wanted to point out this thing keeps popping up. You guys probably know why and are probably laughing at me. I have no clue what I'm doing here. Anyway. I just wanted to point out since the low, it's making higher lows, which I showed you with these stocks. These leading stocks are making higher lows above their Wednesday highs. Now, this thing did not pop with the rest of the market on Wednesday, on the 9th. Yeah, it was up less than 1%. Wait a minute, go to the 9th here. Yeah, less than 1%, but it's making higher highs and higher lows. So this is telling me this thing wants to go higher, and it's above its moving averages. I want to tell you, look for a stock, try to show a screen of a stock that's 8% above its 50 and 2.5% above its 21 and 3% above its 10 that has triple digit sales and earnings growth and with volume. And I want to know how many stocks are in that group. I'm going to say two, three, five at the most. Anyway, maybe I'll do that and share that. Anyway, obviously this is a strong stock. Netflix, they have another double bottom base pattern. They had that, shakeout Livermore plus three pattern. Again, now this morning, I think it was this morning or last night, they sent a memo to their internal memo that they plan on being a $1 trillion market cap company, which is great. It's always great to have high aspirations. Right now, it's 417 billion. So that's a two bagger from here. I think we'll all take a two bagger. But anyway, on the ninth, that day that the Nasdaq moved. It was up 8.6%. It made that high of 951, and today it surpassed that 951. It didn't do it before today, but it broke above that downtrend line. So, gosh, if you didn't know, I would say that is a buy as well. Not only the breaking above the downtrend line, but the relative strength line, moving through the moving average there is another, to me, I shouldn't say a buy point, but just another indicator. It's an indicator that I use. It's not foolproof. Nothing's foolproof, but Netflix looking very strong. So another one of these stocks that I like. How about that? LRN, these education stocks like Duolingo, this one obviously new highs, new lows every day. This one's showing a lot of strength. I did put that one on my ready list, but still consolidating within a base. If you look at a weekly chart there, yeah, this is just forming a base here. 10 weeks within that base. Hasn't even broken out yet, but obviously a lot going on with education in this country. And I think that some of these private, it's, yeah, people are going to maybe learn on their own. How about that? Or not rely on schools so much. Maybe that would be smart. Take a vested interest in your own education. And Duolingo obviously has a language program, which I really like here. Sell off. Now, this one's not showing strength, like couldn't get above the Wednesday high, but it's one that I'm watching. Had an inside day today. Got rejected at the 50 a bunch of times here, so it needs to get through there. But I think they're going to have added subscribers just because of what's going on in education. And as a person who's trying to make money in the stock market, I can't do anything about Washington, D.C. I can't have an opinion. I just have to deal with the market that I'm given. And last administration was different than this one. So there's going to be winners and losers. And you have to figure out, as an investor, which ones are going to be the winners and forget the losers. And so that's just try to be apolitical that way. Yeah, education. It's changing, and I think some of these private education, what was the other one that I had? I think I had this one on the Reddit list recently. Yeah, this one's consolidating in a base as well. So these education stocks, yeah. Uh, um, yeah, Chicago, Illinois, just consolidating within a base. There's that, relative strength line going above the moving average. So that's one of the indicators of, showing strength while the index is kind of floundering. Your earnings line is going higher. This is ATGE. I kind of switched up on you. But the education group is a top, five group here. So obviously there's something going on here, and it's only 5% off of its 52-week high. So there's another one that I like. LRNATGE. All right, I've got off track here. All right, I'm going to go to retail, which is an area that I'm really down on and really skeptical of. But there are going to be some winners and losers, and this is Bell Ring Branch consolidating within the base, for a long period of time. I do want to point out though that there are some institutions in here. You can see the growth funds adding here, from 600 from June 23 to 805 June 24, and now in March 25, 841. You could see the Fidelity Contras in here. So, you know, yeah, protein shakes or whatever. Um, I'm just, observing here. I don't own this, but it's been in a base for a while, and I kind of like this. The earnings line is heading due north. So BRBR is definitely one that I am watching. Another one that I showed you yesterday that it's a gambling one. I just put it in retail because I don't know. It's in retail, right? It's retail to spend money and buy stuff and gamble your money away or win some money. You don't know. How about that? You can actually win. Anyway, this is Sport Radar Group, SRAD. And I don't like that earnings line going north, but it's kind of choppy with the earnings, but still kind of consolidating here in a base. And when these things start making new highs, I pay attention. It made that high of 22.94 on February 18th, and it rallied above it once, 23.60. Now here, 23.67, 23.73. So it made that low on the 7th, like everything else, and now has rallied back through and making new highs. So just pointing it out. And the other one is Bros. I want to talk about Bros because Bros is more. I have some people saying, no, it's a laggard. It's not above, the high from Wednesday, which is all true. That is all true. It is making the higher lows. Today was an inside day, but it's below the 21, well below the 50. Closed just a tick below its 10 today. So it is a laggard and it needs to trade above, in my opinion, this Wednesday high and above. Like if you just make a little downtrend line there above, I don't know if it can get above I think it's about 62. It would take out that downtrend line, 62.17. So call it like 62.50 here. Which it's not that far away. I mean, I could do it in a day. But bros, I just look at longer term. This thing's just in an IPO base, pulling back the last couple of months. I'm more of a longer term, how they're only in 18 states. It's less than 9 billion market cap. These guys are going to grow to all 50 states. I'm sure they're going to go to Europe and, India and China, wherever, Australia. I'm sure they haven't talked about that yet. They just talked about expanding within the United States, but a lot of room for growth with Dutch Bros. You could see this earnings line heading due north. And yeah, for now it's a laggard, but I would just keep my eye on this one because I just showed you a bunch of different time frames there. And yeah, weekly, monthly, yeah, give it some time. I think Dutch Bros, this is another one that I believe like Rubric, like Robinhood, like TGTX. They're gonna have 4 solid quarters reported in 2025, taking market share. They have the younger generation. The way I look at it, from my observance, they have the younger generation that are flocking to this company, whereas the boomers are like the Starbucks. And I would rather own, I don't want to own the boomer trade because they're kind of fading out. I'd rather own the younger brand, and these guys are winning the younger brand. So anyway, that's it for Dutch Bros. I got to go to some of the drug stocks that I like. This is ADMA. I believe I put this one on my ready list today. Nice cup with handle here. If you look at the weekly here, it cleans it up a little bit. Earnings line heading north. Nice cup with handle. It's up 14% this week now. Oof. Little extended there, eh? Yeah, broke out above that 2070. I had it on last week. I know why. I know why here. Yeah, this handle here, this little downtrend line within the handle. So above that level, I think that was 19. Yeah, I liked it above 1948. Okay, had a big move yesterday and followed up today, 6%. So this one has momentum. Another one that I like is WGS. There's a few more that I like. I'm just showing you these today. This one, the RS line heading through the moving average, index moving average. So that's showing strength. It's got the blue dot on the daily. WGS still consolidating within a base here. So I like this on all time frames here. WGS. All right. All right, one other one. I guess I got to show this one. Vertex, another one that I like. Still, got to look at the weekly here. Still consolidating within a base. Yeah, it had that pullback below the 200, rallied back above. But to me, this one hasn't broken out. They're going to report earnings May 5. So yeah, earnings are coming up, and we're going to be trading on earnings and not, whatever the Fed members have to say or whatever the tariff news is. I kind of like that. I kind of enjoy that time of the year. All right, I'm going to switch over to some of these medical stocks. This is Cencora. Yeah, had a nice move. This is a number two group. So obviously these stocks are strong. And I'm just pointing these out. I don't own any of them. I'm not saying they're set up in bases, but these ones have been showing strength. They've been showing up on screens. This one broke out a while ago. You can see, yeah, this is extended here. How many weeks in a row is this thing up? Count with me now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now I'm going to run out of fingers here pretty soon. 9 weeks of yeah, just grinding higher. That's McKesson, medical wholesale drug supplier, and then Cardinal obviously is another one that's strong. Yeah, traded under its 50, rallied back. There's the very common pattern we're seeing here. And the other one I wanted to show is TMDX. I showed this yesterday. This has a little more growth profile in it and pulled back a little bit in the morning and actually closed higher today. Very impressive. Some profit takers here in the morning as it pulled back to what, 83 something? Yeah, 83.90, where it was even lower than that, 83 and a quarter, and then rallied to close at 87. So nice move for Transmedics. I like this one coming out of this base here. All right, that's it for me. Thank you for watching at mcstockcharts.com. We never give up, except for in the honor of the great Steve Jobs. Uh, we have one more thing, and that is United Airlines reported tonight, and they reported I didn't look at the report. Actually, I think they beat on top and bottom, but everybody's worried about guidance going forward. So these guys did a smart thing. Is a lot of people are expecting companies just not give any guidance at all. It's too uncertain. We're not going to give guidance. They did a smart thing. They gave guidance for like the worst case scenario, recession, whatever, and then better case scenario. And the market liked that. Obviously, it's up nearly 6% after hours. So United, very smart management there, very shrewd. And I believe it's going to carry some of these other ones. Delta's up after hours. Even the dog that is Southwest is up after hours. All right. And Alaska, that's a lot after hours. Okay. Who else reported? Oh, IBKR. I did not see their report. So I don't know how they're trading. Down 6%, not too good there. They usually have pretty good growth, good management here. So I'll have more on this in the morning. Down $11 is not the best news. And JBHT, I did see they beat on the top and bottom line, but the stock was down 5%. So maybe they give rotten guidance. So they got to take a note from United Airlines. Anyway, in the morning we'll have this semiconductor equipment monopoly, ASML. We're reporting in the morning. Abbott Labs will be reporting in the morning. Very interested to hearing from them, and also Progressive. And if Travelers. So if you own insurance, you're going to be staying tuned to these. This is a Dow Jones component. So this could be market moving for that sector, not market moving, sector moving. Travelers and PGR will move, Aflac and Allstate and Brown and Brown. And then ALV, this is one that is a little tricky because it's in the auto industry and it's a European stock, Swedish, and you can see it's sold off here with the news of the geopolitical BS that's going on. So this is the kind of stuff you got to stay away from. It's just too convoluted, too tricky, too politically charged here. But they're going to report in the morning. And yeah, so yeah, I'll be paying attention to that. And I'll have it at mcstockcharts.com. And we never give up. Thank you for watching. Pay the tax, man.